Welcome back. While the international community wrestles with a response to the suspected massacre in Syria, CNN has obtained some disturbing video footage from one of the areas in Damascus allegedly hit by chemical weapons. We warn Fred Pligan's exclusive report contains very disturbing images.
A plowed-over lot in the Damascus suburb of Zamalka. This is actually a mass grave with the bodies of many of those killed in last week's alleged chemical weapons attack. There's very little space left, as one resident shows us, and even that space might soon be occupied, with many unidentified bodies in the local field hospital, a lot of them children. The hospital staff says they're trying to find relatives so the corpses can be buried. Others are still recovering. This man says he was trying to evacuate victims. I was helping a lot of women and children and 3 young men, he says. I also evacuated 2 dead bodies. Then there was another explosion. I couldn't breathe, I had cramps, and I couldn't see. The doctors helped me. CNN has exclusively obtained this video from a journalist. One man tells the filmer how he survived thanks to a homemade gas mask. When we came here, the people said we should make some gas masks, he says. This is a plastic cup. At the bottom is some cotton, then coal, and then cotton again. It helps a little bit. Residents say the alleged chemical attack happened in the middle of the night, killing many in their sleep, while others struggled to escape, like 6-year-old Abdul Ghani. After the chemicals hit, they woke us up and told us to put masks on, he says. I told my dad I can't breathe. My father then fainted, and I fainted right after that. But we were found and taken to the emergency room. It's still unclear who's behind the alleged chemical weapons attacks in the Damascus suburbs. The opposition and the government are trading blame for the incident. In an exclusive interview, Syria's information minister said the regime has never used chemical weapons. If the United States administration has proof that we used chemical weapons, then they should present this proof to the rest of the world, he says. If they don't have this proof or evidence, then how are they going to stand up to American public opinion? The UN weapons inspectors were able to continue their mission on Wednesday, heading to the Damascus suburbs, well aware that time is of the essence and every moment lost will make it harder to find conclusive forensic evidence.
Now I want to tell you about an anonymous donation that changed the life of a baby girl suffering from a disorder that caused her head to swell several times its normal size. Her parents did not have enough money for treatment until they were given a helping hand from Norway. This report shares her moving story, but we warned you could find some of the images hard to watch.
After numerous doctor's visits, medical assessments and surgeries, 18-month-old Runa Begum is getting a chance of being the little baby she really is. Remarkable considering soon after birth in a remote village in northeastern India, doctors gave her just a few months of survival. It's still painful, but sitting on her mother's lap, seeing her face, are simple things Runa could not do until now. Runa is diagnosed with hydrocephalus, a disorder causing fluid to build up in the brain.
Day by day, her head started growing large. It became very difficult for us to carry her.
Her parents couldn't afford to treat her, but thanks to an outpouring of goodwill halfway across the globe and a leading private hospital in New Delhi, Runa is now in a much better place. This is Runa 4 months ago. At 94 centimeters, the circumference of her head was almost triple that of a normal baby. There were 10 liters of excess fluid inside her brain. The skin so stretched, pulling her eyelids over her eyes, making it impossible for Runa to see. Neurosurgeon Sandeep Vesha has treated hundreds of babies with hydrocephalus before, but he's never seen anything like this.
I was horrified. I just felt so sorry for the baby that it was actually a pitiful sight. The only way the father could hold the child was by holding on the side of her head and just lifting her up.
Standard treatment for hydrocephalus is a cerebral shunt, inserting a hollow tube into the brain, draining the fluid into another part of the body.
Doctors have been draining out the excess fluid from little Runa Begum's head for days, but this is the main surgery.
Vesha appears calm, but he admits the risks in this case are high.
You have to generally put in a straight tunnel through it. And the head size is so big that you can't take a straight trajectory there. And the skin is so papery thin.
There were times when they almost lost her, Rachel later tells us, but Runa pulled through and is now ready to go home.
You can see she's much more playful. She's moving her hands all around. She holds toys. She cries a lot.
Did you ever think it would be this successful?
To be truthful, no. We never expected that we could reduce it to this size or she would improve to this an extent.
We traveled to Runa's village to see how she's coping.
We're seeing baby Runa after 5 surgeries now, and her parents say she's almost 10 kilos lighter, and she's become the joy of this village.
Her head is now down to 58 centimeters. Curious visitors keep dropping by. Fatima and Abdul Rahman, still unaware, who helped pay for Runa's treatment.
Hi, Jonas.
We introduced them to Jonas Borskrevink, more than 4,000 miles away in Norway.
She's a feisty little child. Hello.
Jonas and another student, Natalie Krantz, put up Runa's pictures on a crowdfunding website in April. In 4 months, they raised $60,000.
I want to ask them how they see their future regarding Runa Begum.
They hope that she will be healthy, like a normal child, that she'll be able to go to school.
It's too early to tell if Runa will ever be completely normal. Many operations still lie ahead, but the signs thus far are promising. Sunima Odas, CNN, Tripura, India.
Now in the US, it's been some 50 years since Dr. Martin Luther King delivered his famous "I Have a Dream" speech to a crowd in Washington. That dream was racial equality in America, and the speech was a crucial moment in the country's history, helping to build momentum for the passage of the civil rights trails, and since then there has been great strides in reducing social inequality. But today there are still calls for more to be done, including the US President himself, Barack Obama, is scheduled to speak as part of anniversary celebrations that would happen at the Lincoln Memorial.
Ago today, about 250,000 people marched on the National Mall on Washington to demand change. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. sharing his dream for America from the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. His indelible words, a watershed moment in the civil rights movement. Today, thousands will gather once again to commemorate those now famous words that forever changed our country.
50 years ago, there was so much fear. People were afraid to be afraid. The fear is gone. Our country is better, and we are better people. We still have a distance to go.
That distance front and center today as the nation's first black president will add his vision as the marquee speaker at the anniversary celebration. President Obama acknowledges that while a lot of progress has been made, King would not be satisfied.
We have not made as much progress as the civil and social progress that we've made, and that it's not enough just to have a black president.
There are renewed calls for addressing socioeconomic and racial disparities. The recent acquittal of George Zimmerman and the shooting death of Trayvon Martin drew many to the streets across the country in protest. The president reacting with personal candor.
There are very few African-American men in this country who haven't had the experience of being followed when they were shopping in a department store. That includes me.
This from a president criticized by some in the black community for not being more outspoken about race.
Yeah, I like to see him be more passionate about race questions.
Last week in New York, Mr. Obama may have given a glimpse into his address today honoring the civil rights leader.
Each generation seems wiser in terms of wanting to treat people fairly and do the right thing and not discriminate. And that's a great victory that we should all be very proud of.
Former Presidents Bill Clinton and Jimmy Carter will be there as well. So will actor Jamie Foxx and media mogul Oprah Winfrey, who credits King for much of her success.
It is because of Dr. King and all those who worked with him that I stand. And because of them, I have a voice that can be heard.